to present what I prepared. It's interesting. I had a very similar lecture already about selfishness, and I find, and I loved it because the fact is that selfishness is probably the most difficult trait to get rid of, because it's directly related with ego, and ego, as I understand it, is actually not one thing, it's a multiplicity. So in this lecture, the guidance was, it says, focus on altruism and how it improves our life. So it's directly related with those two things. We're going to be looking at selfishness, because that's the main title of the lecture, and then altruism as extension of it, as in a way the opposite of it. So that's what I'm going to be talking about. And the definition of unselfishness, altruism is unselfish concern for the welfare of others. Just a dictionary thing. So basically, that is a selflessness. Altruism, another word for it is selflessness, and instinctive behavior that is detrimental to the individual. So sometimes being altruistic means that you might be doing something that is detrimental for yourself, because you would rather hurt yourself to help other people. So they said for the survival or spread of that individual's genes, or by benefiting its relatives or friends or whoever you are with. They don't have to be necessarily your friends. Maybe you're just generally you walk on the street and you see somebody who is in great need of something, that somebody fall over, and you jump out of your car, and you are late for work, but you will still come and help them because they've fallen over from bike, and you might be late, but you've done it. And that's one simple example of altruistic deed. So you're trying to help somebody else. And it was first employed by a French philosopher, and it says exactly that, the opposite of egoism, that benevolent instincts. You're trying to help, and in a way that is the opposite of selfishness. Now, selfishness, this whole lecture is based on the book of Hamed, The Pains of the Soul, from Hamed. And his definition says that vanity is the legitimate daughter of selfishness. It's another, basically a word of like how selfishness is the best way to define it, is daughter of selfishness, because the vain is a blind man who only knows how to seek himself, which means you're just looking at yourself, so you're selfish. And he said that basically, he said vanity is a superlative desire to attract attention, or the presumption of being applauded and revered before others. It is the ostentation of those who seek praise, or the illusion of those who seek to succeed before the world and not within themselves. So one way of looking at ego is, even me presenting this lecture is in a way egoistic. It's selfishness. Or I can do better than others, so I will present, give me the chance, which is in a way selfish, because it's related with ego. Or for example, there's another way of still being selfish or egoistic, is saying I don't want to present because I might not sound as smart as I am while I'm just being silent. They say you're only as big as a fool when you start talking. Before that, you sound like you're a philosopher. So in a way, you can look, when you start looking at ego or self, like they're kind of, to me, they are interrelated. Ego and selfishness is very common, and that ego is from all these different teachings that I've been reading through my life, is ego is the main problem. That's the reason why we are reincarnated, because we still have ego. When we become really selfless, then we would not need to reincarnate. If you look at Jesus, even while they crucified him and he was dying, he was still praying for others, saying, Father, please forgive them, they don't know what they are doing. So he didn't have a problem with him saying, oh, I don't want to die. Now he realized I have to do it for others because I have to show the example. And he still prayed for others. Please, you know, they are doing, all of these guys are killing me. But Father, please forgive them because they're so foolish. They don't actually know what they are doing to me. What they are doing is in general. So that ego and selfishness that's the kind of the main cause for us being here, and us having a look at it and observing it is a start of making a solution. So in a way, I found that altruism is a capacity to love. So Hamed says, in summary, altruism is disinterested love, the result of the enrichment of interior life, while avarice is so there's two like kind of two ways. This avarice is the daughter of the poverty of the interior, the humanization and of obstruction of the capacity to love. So we, in a way, the more selfish we are, the less capacity to love we have. And the more unselfish we are, the selfless we are, the more we love other people. Because it's a simple thing, yeah. Because to love others, you have to stop thinking about yourself. And in a way, that altruism is, it can't, you see, it's quite often altruism is people just relate it directly with money, you know, like you buying things or happy, like giving money away. That's the most common way of seeing altruism. But altruism is anything that it doesn't need to be related with money or material possessions only. It can be, like I said, you jump out of the car and help the person who has fallen off the bike. It's not, you didn't put any money towards that, but it's just your effort and your sincere desire to help somebody. And the intimate state, you see, in a way, we have to look into ourselves continuously to even observe us being selfish. Because, see, it says the reason for our analysis and observation is the intimate state of the vain individual, or that is what is beneath the interest of this exhibition or any exhibition, and this need to be seen, to be the point of disguising yourself to get attention. For example, getting attention, giving this lecture is getting attention. Or if you have I don't know, a group of people coming together for a birthday, who will make the best cake? Making the best cake, trying to get the best cake is to attract attention. Look at this. This is far better cake than any other cake. Or it can be anything that is, or I don't know, in the service, I don't know, in the spiritual center, who does the most work. Sometimes that doing the most work might be ego. So, or in a way, when you look at and that's an important aspect that I found is when you notice somebody being selfish that is around you, you have to, at least I started doing that, because I've noticed that is usually same like that, those mirror that they always talk in the Buddhism, that when you see somebody else being selfish, you have to ask yourself, when am I being that way? Am I also being that way? Or in which way I am like that? Because it might not be on the same example. Like, for example, I had an interesting conversation. Somebody in the park where I work has fallen over, and then the ambulance came in. And the neighbor called the ambulance, but then another neighbor comes in, and the person who has fallen doesn't really like that person, that other neighbor. But that neighbor came in and took over the whole scene. He jumped into his house and asked, where is this? Where is that? Where's your wallet? You need this, you need that. And he jumped into his house without being invited. And in a way, his idea of doing that was completely altruistic. He wanted to help. But it was completely egoistic in the same time, because he didn't look at anybody else there as also trying to help. He just took over. He just came in and his ego was the biggest. Oh, I'll just save the world and I will save this man, despite of the emergency services being there and doing their work. And he just came in and kind of took over the whole scene. So it's very hard, like if you are not paying attention to it, it's very hard to notice that you are being selfish. You know, just, I want all the attention. I'm the main man, know it all. So it's very, you know, that point that you have to look at yourself acting, and then sometimes to stop and perhaps meditate and look at your day. One of the very important points I remember from the Spirits book that they say that I can't now remember who was it, one of the saints, that he says one of the main practices that he was doing, he would stop at the end of the day before going to sleep. He would look at his day backwards. He would look at what he was doing that day and what was done right, what was not, and then observing and saying, if I would be doing this again, I wouldn't do that mistake. I will, you know, do something else. I would act the other way. So that's self-observation and looking within. That's one of the best exercises in trying to elevate yourself out of ego. And so giving to be noticed, like that's the most usual, most common altruistic method, you know, giving to satisfy vanity, or basically doing the charity as personal gratification. Because if you have a lot of money, it's not a problem for you to give it away. So, and then if you can choose to give it away just to be, you know, heard about. So see, Francisco VI, Duke of the La Rochefoucauld, 17th century French writer, says that we would be ashamed of our best actions if the world knew what motivated them. So why he's writing this, he says the statement is valid because it refers to the creatures that do philanthropy in order to feed their personal vanity, impressing the world to include them in the list of the most generous and great altruistic. So it's interesting, in the Spirits book, they say if you have a lot of money, in a way, it doesn't cost you anything to be altruistic, to sound really altruistic, you know, to become famous because you have given millions. Imagine somebody like Bill Gates, who has billions of dollars, and for him, giving money away is nothing. Like, you know, it's like for us giving $1 for a coffee in going to 7-Eleven. For him, it's probably $1 million. So for him, the fact that he's giving that $1 million is not much. You know what I mean? So the fact is, what they talk about is interesting. In the next one, it says that those who count in every charitable deed they do, how much they will be rewarded in this life or the next, they act selfishly. That's directly from the Spirits book, the question 897. So it's, in a way, if you're doing something just because you are thinking, if I do this, I'm going to be rewarded in a way, you don't have the benefit. You're not really getting the good karma, because your karma is, in a way, that idea, I'm going to be rewarded, it's already, you're already being paid in a way. But when you do it, you know what the previous slide was, disinterested love. That's a very, very important point that Ahmed is saying, is that when you are doing a charitable deed or altruistic deed, the point is that you should be disinterested. You are not doing it because you want something back from it. So I want to earn good karma, so let me start, you know, giving money away and finding the best ways to do it. That's you know, so I'm going to put the money onto my karma accounts. If that is your attitude, you are not actually doing it. If you are doing it because it's the right thing to do, then you are doing it properly. So it's disinterested thing is not I'm not doing it because of the gain that I might have karmically, or however you look at it, or in the afterlife. I'm doing it because it's the right thing to do. I have extra money, and then I can use it to help somebody because it's a good thing to do. Or I have extra time, and I will put time into, I don't know, preparing a lecture, as an example, preparing a lecture, and I will find some time. And then the more difficult it is for you to do it, the more karma you acquire, because you are doing something because it's the right thing to do. And if it's a little bit difficult, then you earn, in a way, you're earning more, you're getting more benefit from it, because you are doing it, although it's not easy. Because the easy way is to say, I don't have time. Well, I can watch telly. There's a nice movie that Ellie is now watching with mom, so they can be quiet. And I could be watching some Ice Queen or whatever cartoon instead of giving lecture. But it's your choice. Do you want to do something that is positive or not? And we are faced with this choice all the time, continuously. And then what is interesting is that so that was giving to charity to become famous, especially if you're rich. So, building a hospital wing, because your name will be new hospital wing built by Besko. It's costed $38 million. And then it will be forever there until that building is knocked down. So that's you already have the reward. Your name on the wall is already your reward. So there's no, in the afterlife, you're not going to get any money. I mean, you will not get much karma for it, because you kind of enjoy the fact that, it's good. Look at my name is up there. It's my whole family will look at it. Everybody will know it's me. So in a way, that's, although you are doing altruistic deed, you are doing it from the selfish reason. And what is interesting, I was looking at this, and it talks in that book, especially in that chapter, he talks a lot about the problems with relations. I'll just read this. I'll explain. Large flow of individuals who seek psychiatric offices and clinics of the most diverse medical specialties is due to the climate of dissatisfaction and existential emptiness, which is nothing more than the harvesting of the fruits of selfishness. And the fruits of it, their inability to relate, repression of feelings of love and fraternity, and unconsciousness of an internal and eternal life. Internal and eternal life. So basically, when we are selfish, we can't really relate well. And then because we are not relating, we also have, or because we are selfish, we repress our feelings of love, and we don't develop those fraternity feelings. And we can't, because we are not relating with others properly, we are feeling lonely, and we become depressed. Because as humans, we are social animals, as they say. No, not social, we are not animals, but we are social, very social. So the fact that I look at people, some people, especially because of my job, I have the opportunity to see people living in a close proximity with others. And I see people who have serious issues. People walking next to their home creates problem for them. And they're doing nothing. They can't see in their home because it's completely blacked out. But just the fact that somebody walked next to their tent or their annex, and they heard it, that was enough for them to feel really upset. And that causes problems, psychic problems, and then later on that becomes like a big issue that might blow out as a fight, as yelling to the other people, or sometimes to me, or something like it. Just people become totally lost in that, in a way, selfishness. And then they end up in the psychiatric office, and they have to take, big tablets or something to calm down because they are so upset and there's big issues. And then they have to talk with the psychologist and different things. And most of the time, it's just tablets that are then subduing that ego, but not fixing the problem. Problem is that they have to kind of start thinking, and then you try. I also noticed, and that's the shocking. I just had one experience today about. That's why I'm mentioning that. Then you realize that you come through to this person and you say, well, I want to help you, and here are the solutions. We can do it this way. And the person says, no, I don't want that solution. I just want you to do my way and nothing else. And then you tell the person, but that's not working. You already have the problem with your way. So if we just allow me to adjust something for you, problem will be solved, and it's very easy. And the person says, no, I don't want it. And then you realize there's nothing I can do, because I've already experienced. I'm working for 2 years this job, so I realized when person is like that, they are locked in that ego or selfishness, and there's nothing I can do. It's a psychic problem, and I'm not, psychiatrist, and I don't have the authorization to fix them. And then I just realized it's pointless. I'll just let them be. And one day I know that person is going to go away because they are not happy with how the things are done. But it's not because the issue is that the system doesn't work. It's just they don't want to fit in. The ego, that selfishness is there, and they would like everybody to adjust to them, which is impossible. Society can't adjust to you. You can only adjust to society. So, and it's such a clear example of that selfishness, that to just observe that from this position where I am. And then you realize, oh my God, that's exactly what it is. I'm now talking, I have a lecture about it, and it's spot on, selfishness. And nothing you can do, like you can't change that person. It's the only way that can be changed if the person looks within and start working on themselves. I think Jesus says in one, I can't remember, it's about the fact that only the people who are ready can be changed. You can't force anything to anybody. When people are ready, they will ask for God and for an opportunity to change. So they have to, like, it's an internal work. It's a self change. I think it's the other word. I think it's one of it's called self-reform. So you actually, once you start noticing that in yourself, that's the first time that you can do something about it. It's kind of you planted the seed. When you notice, am I selfish? You ask yourself, am I selfish? And then once you start noticing that, you see, the trouble is that the most selfish people would never think of themselves as selfish. And that's where it starts. So we have to, stop this thinking that we are not selfish. We have to understand that we are probably selfish. The question is how often and how big of a problem we have with selfishness. Because there's nobody in this world who is not selfish. There's nobody in this world who doesn't have ego. And if we have ego, that we are in a one way or another, we are selfish, and that's the reason why we incarnated. Because we still didn't reform properly. Unless we are a saint who has reincarnated only for the person, only for the purpose to show, to help others, somebody like Jesus or Buddha or Krishna or different incarnations of these godly people who they're completely free. And they come back just to show an example. Everybody else is, in a way or one way or another, selfish, and it's just a degree of problem. Some people are more elevated, they are less selfish, and some people are very, very selfish. And that's kind of a degree of how fallen, in a way, we are in that ladders of selfishness or ego. And you see, Hamed directly says we can only transform ourselves if we can see and perceive in ourselves the roots of vanity, of that selfishness, since to obstinately deny it is to be strictly linked to it. So the more we deny the fact that we have issue with selfishness, with ego, the more problem we are, the more problem we have. If we are not accepting that in a way we are selfish and have problem with ego, the more trouble we have, the more sank we are in that mud of material existence and selfishness and ego and troubles. Yeah. So when we have to ask this question when making decision, and we have to look within. The more we look with love, it's very important. I know it's funny, but that small heart in the middle there, it's very important. It's the heart of everything. It's the center of everything. In our hearts, we have to see if our intention is right. Whatever we do, you know what we said before, that when you're doing an altruistic deed, are you doing it because of the right thing? Are you doing it from the heart, or are you just intellectually doing, if I do this, I'm going to gain that? Or you're just doing it, it's the right thing to do. It's from the heart. I'm doing it and I'm feeling it. And then doesn't matter what's happening, what's going to happen with me after. Okay. And then there are times, this was an example question, when is it okay to be selfish? That was an interesting question that was from previous year. I had a similar one. And see, they said to be selfish it's all right to be selfish when you are defending your legitimately earned property. So if you're working hard and somebody wants to take over your house, you have the right to, like a problem. You will not say, just welcome, come on, you take the house, doesn't matter. I worked 30 years to build it and saved hard, and all of my family is provided by that house, but you want to come over and welcome, and then we're going to go and live on the street. It's not going to work that way. Of course you have the right to protect it. And the second thing that says is to gain spiritual advancement. And it's funny, I was just thinking about the example, and good example is wanting to come to the center for the evening, for the lecture, and your partner tries to stop you. So who is more selfish in that situation? And that shows really clearly how difficult it is to observe that. Is because if you look who is selfish, in a way you are selfish because the partner is not interested to go into the center, and you're saying I'm going. But then the partner says, yeah, but we have, we have to do things. We have to clean the house tonight, or there's a good movie. So in a way, you are selfish and your partner is also selfish, isn't it? You're both selfish in a way, because it's just two egos that want different things. Your ego that says, I want to make spiritual progress, and then going into the center is I have the opportunity to have some service. Maybe I will help with something, I will maybe perform healing, or I will give a lecture, or I will learn something from the lecture, while your partner says, no, come on, we are stressed out all day. If we watch a movie, we're just going to relax. And I'm just giving an example, or I don't know, the house is a little mess, I was busy working all day, and the dishes, I need 1 hour to wash the dishes, and then until I prepare everything, it's going to be like 10 o'clock, and you now want to go. If you help me, I'm going to be finished 8 o'clock. So in a way, it's a clash of egos, isn't it? But then you see, in this one says, if your idea is, although I will appear as selfish, but I want to do it because I'm making spiritual advancement, that's a proper way to view it, view that problem. So you are doing the right thing by going. It's okay, because as long as you are trying to make it right, it's all right. So, and what this is, look at this. And what if your partner thinks, for example, the partner says, you're not making any progress there. Like you just come there and you are listening to something that you listened last year. Are you really making any progress? You already listened to the lecture about selfishness. You know what selfishness is. So in a way, the partner might say, you're just wasting your time. You're just gonna, I don't know, drive for half an hour or 1 hour and you're going to go to the lecture, you're going to spend an hour and a half or 2 hours there, you're going to chat, see some people. It's going to be nice, but in a way, you're not doing any progress because you already know. Maybe you have given a lecture about selfishness before. So in a way, you can look at it, it's selfish. And what's the most interesting is, I've noticed is usually the person, the person, when you look at it from the spiritual perspective, usually the person who has the least interest in spirituality will say that, I know a few friends, and usually it's the person who is not really interested in spirituality will use that argument, you are not learning anything anyway, because they don't want to learn. So they are using you as a mirror. You are not making any progress because they are not making any progress. So it's funny, once you start observing yourself, then you realize in every instant that this is happening all the time. And it's not just with your partner, it's happening with your friends, it's happening like that. In a way, they say that there is this ego tries to find ways, or maybe, there are always spirits who are trying to stop you from making progress. So they will use your partner or your friends or something to create the circumstances in which you will feel like, it will be much easier to stay home. So I don't need to come for a lecture. It's just, there's something else to do. And that's where we have to observe, are we doing it? Is our ego causing that? Is there maybe some external influence? How do we, how does it feel in our heart? Are we feeling positive about it? Are we feeling stressed out about it? So it's that self-reform. I think that's the next, in the next couple of slides. And what's interesting is, whatever you do, you can be the partner who is saying, don't go, or you can be the one who's saying, I'm going. You have to be, in a way, you have to be ready for the consequences. And it's not just about if you keep going. So if you keep going and you are making some spiritual progress, you get inspired, you will, tomorrow you're going to read something about selfishness, tomorrow you're going to observe yourself and say, or maybe you will go to sleep tonight and say, maybe I was selfish when I did that today. And that might be a positive outcome. So then you start thinking, and tomorrow you might be thinking, I'm going to try, to observe how am I behaving through the day? Am I, in a way, being selfish? Am I just being self-centered? And they said that the sign of progress, those who no longer struggle against selfishness have already accomplished a certain amount of progress. They have struggled and succeeded, and they no longer have to put forth any effort into behaving morally or justly. Doing good is perfectly natural to them because kindness has become a habit that they have acquired. They should be honored as veterans are. They have earned their medal. So in the Space book, they basically talk about the fact that once you start being unselfish and do the right thing, and you are behaving morally and justly, you're doing the right thing, that's because you have learned that. You either in this life you have kind of finished learning, or you are making progress. The more proper you are behaving, the more you can see that you have made progress, because it becomes natural. You don't need to fake it. You don't need to think as before in that slide says, what is my, if you are thinking I have to do something altruistic to make benefit because I'm going to gain something, you are still not really free. You are not behaving completely just, because you are thinking I'm going to gain something. I'm going to give money in charity and I'm going to gain something, or I'm going to go do this deed and then I'm going to get something in behind. And you might be getting it. It's not about, it's kind of karma is there. It's kind of works. You do something positive happens to you. So it's what goes around comes around. It's all saying, but once you start doing it without it, that means you have really made some progress. And that's probably the most difficult thing to do is just to act without that selfishness in yourself. And that self-reform that I was talking about, Hamed says self-reform always improves the quality of our life. As we come to know ourselves and the universe as a whole. So basically, you start understanding that you are just part of this bigger picture. It's not, selfishness is me, and our selfishness is I'm just a small, how they call it, a small screw in that big engine of the universe. And even though that screw might fall off and one day it's gonna, rust and stop working, the universe still, that engine is gonna still keep on going. Somebody's gonna come and screw in the new one. And self-reform always improves the quality of our life as we come to know ourselves and the universe as a whole, since we are also driven by the purpose of the primary function, which is to learn to love unconditionally. So we share love. We do what's right without expecting anything in the reward. That's unconditional love. Is I love because it's the proper way to do. I love because it's right to love, and I love unconditionally, not expecting anything against it. And I kind of a second last slide is this is also important. I almost forgot about this one. So let us try to live, Hamed says, not as the definite owners of our possessions, but only as usufructuaries of them, basically as users. So whatever we have, we have to understand we are not the owners. It was just given to us because we have, in a way, we have deserved it in a way, or we have behaved properly. So God has entrusted us with more money than others because we are perhaps not attached to it. And the more we are disattached, we might be getting more, or whatever we have. It could be, I don't know, you are just somebody who loves doing a service, or I don't know, loves giving a massage or energy healing to somebody because it's just a natural for you. You have this beautiful energy, and your heart just says, this person has a headache, and you just put your hands and say, God, please help this person, and the headache goes away. And whatever you do doesn't have to be money, as we spoke before. But once you start realizing that whatever powers you might have, or if you have money or whatever skills you might have, you are just being blessed with it, so you can do a service, you can do that unconditional, you can use it as an instrument of that unconditional love, the better you are. And there's a beautiful exercise that I found, and it's really inspires me, is, when you want something, for example, you want to have a house, you want to buy a house, and you never had a house. So instead of you just praying for yourself, God, please give me a house, you look around and you find somebody who needs the same or something similar, or they need to just find an apartment. They might be just homeless people. And if you find somebody who needs similar thing or the same thing as you, then you pray for them instead of for you. So you want the same thing, but instead of you praying, God, please give me this thing that I need. I don't know, in this example, I want to have my own house. I want to own the house. And you know that there's a homeless person there who really needs a house, and they have, 3 kids, and they are living in a caravan park, in a small cabin that they managed to somehow just cram enough money to pay for it barely, and they are almost hungry. And then you pray for them and say, God, please provide for these people a home. When you are doing that, you are becoming a channel of that divine love, unconditional love. And the more you pray, there's a more chance for you gonna get it. And when you get it, the difference is that you will receive what you need while being the channel of charity, instead of being the end point in a possibly a selfish desire. So if you're just praying for yourself, there's a good chance that you might be selfish. While when you are praying for somebody else, you will probably still get the same thing. There's a good chance you might actually get it faster. Some people claim that you get it faster when you are not being selfish, when you just say, God, please provide for these people because they need it more than me. And then in a way you have helped them, you have directed that energy to help them, because maybe they are just at that moment, they are not praying, give me a house. They're praying just, God, just give us next meal in the morning. And they are not actually praying for a house, but they need a house. So when you start praying for them, you are doing the most charitable deed possible. And in a way, you're also helping yourself in the same time, because you are not being selfish. You're just kind of diverting that desire. I'm all right where I am. I know at least I have a home, although I may be renting. I would love to have a home, but they really need somewhere to live because they are struggling. So you are kind of trying to be, you're turning your selfishness into altruism. And as a conclusion, I just basically say, as you can see through the lecture, that altruism is directly opposite to selfishness, is the kind of directly opposite. And as in Spiritist book, the Spirit's book, they say selfishness is one of the most persistent human traits and more difficult to uproot than others. We are willing to make sacrifices if they cost nothing, and provided that they impose no deprivation. So that's what I was saying, like for I don't know, for Bill Gates, the fact that he gives, I don't know, $20 million for a hospital, it's nothing. It's like $20 for us probably, or maybe, I don't know, $2,000 or $200 for us. So if it's in a way, it's not costing us anything, it's so safe. But once you have to, you know, if all you have is $10,000 on your bank account, and you know once that goes off, you're going to be out of your pension, and then you give $1,000 to somebody who is in real need, that's a big thing. That's a big thing. So in a way, see, it says money exercises an irresistible attraction, and very few understand the word luxury when it relates to themselves. So they will do anything for themselves. They have big, you know, people who have money, they have big cars, big yachts, big houses, big parties, big, you know, rich jewelry and clothes, whatever. And then the more you realize that is not important. You know, it says the renunciation of the selflessness is the most eminent sign. Sorry, is the most eminent sign of the progress. So basically, the more selfless we are, the more we have made progress in our life. So that's pretty much the whole lecture. We can now go to the questions, I guess, if anybody had questions.
Anyone would like to have a comment, a question, or something to add? Oh, is it? Caution. No? All right. So, yeah, it's a very always not outdated, sorry. When is
updated?
No, when it's always recurrent subject, because I think selfishness is something that we have to practice every day in a simple little steps. And as you just say, at some point it will become more natural for us to do it without thinking about it, because then we're gonna be doing what Jesus asked us for doing, just love for the pure love of it, because we are divine. It's not an easy task. I confess many times I have to really think about it, things to do it, and in a way force myself to do it because it's the right thing to do it, because I wish if I was in that position, someone would do that for me in a way. But I keep praying for one day be natural, you know, and I can achieve that in a way that I'll be just like doing for the altruism, the true altruism, love that just, you know, emanate for everyone around us. But yeah, but thank you, Besko, for tonight. Thank you so much. It's always a good reminder us for keep keep in line and think about all others and be.
I'm actually reminding myself. Yeah. I'm the one who has the problem with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be getting it again.
Yeah, but I think we're on the I think everyone here is on the right track.
Yeah.
If you're already here and listen to these and get together and think a time of a day to think about our actions, what we could do, to do our prayers, to do our connection, we are already in the right path. So, and it's okay. So we have a journey to follow and keep Jesus in front of us, and everything's gonna be all right. Just follow the leader. Just do as the kids do it. Follow the leader, Jesus. So then we know we are doing the right thing. Although it's simple, but it's not that easy. We always have to keep remind us to, stop, analyze, do it because it's right, do it because, it's what Jesus is asking us to do it. So, yeah. G, we can't hear you.
It's good now. Seems like it's all right now.
And now?
Yeah.
All right. Just my headphone was in the way. No, I just would like to make a comment. You mentioned at some point the lecture connection, and I think that's I just recently watched a very inspiring talk from PEX Talks about connection and vulnerability, and is I think we can lay many of those issues related to self-reform with the lack of connection that we currently are experiencing in humanity, and that's due. So I think this could be approached in every single lecture actually we have, and that's due to so many factors, and the lifestyle we have, the technology we use, that has that positive and the negative side of it, and being so sometimes disconnected emotionally with each other, which is actually impossible to be disconnected because we are connected. There is no way we are disconnected. We are only one, but we live in this illusion that we are not connected. So that brings so much problems for us, and so much issues related to this. The being selfish or being altruist is all come in the way of being, because it's so easy. Well, if you we really felt this connection that exists, if you really believe that and felt that. So what is the space for selfishness? So yeah, just pointing that out, that I think we at this point, humanity, we should start looking at that. We are, when we say, and we are trying to explore this concept of being only one, is towards this connection, regaining our connection. So.
Yes. Hello, Besko. Thank you so much for presenting tonight. It is for, as you say, Gisele, it is a misperception, a misconception that we are separated. And this has driven us to focus on ourselves as separate entities. And this is unnatural and provides us only with opportunities to sit in reflection of our separateness. And of course, as we are separating ourselves, we are naturally unhappy because we are not in our natural state. But I guess our sense of being is fulfilled when we feel a part of it all. And so as we sit in our lonesomeness, maybe it is for us to get over ourselves and to step outside the door when we are feeling at our most vulnerable and our most lonely, to push ourselves out the door and to smile at another, to connect with another, to pick a flower and hand it to another, to push beyond these self-inflicted ideas of separateness. Yes, to get out, to push beyond. Yes, this is a remarkably simple idea to think that all we need to do is to just say hello to another, and yet it opens our hearts. We are not needing to progress or to be conscious of our progression, because this in itself is the opposite of altruistic. It is focused on ourselves and our own journey. But if we are so focused on everyone being a part of the one, then we are releasing the need to assess ourselves or others and to grade ourselves or the others. And in this way, to just live for this moment. This moment is the most significant in our own story. And what we choose to do with this moment is, I guess, yes, a choice. But if we are able to see the other as our salvation, for it is in giving to the other that we are fulfilled and we are at our most happiest. Yes. Yes.
Thank you, Colleen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else would like to comment, make a question? No?
In a way, when just came to me while Colleen was saying is that that's what they call becoming an instrument in God's hands. You know, once you become aware that you are just part of this big picture, then you kind of let go of your own self-inflated importance, and then you realize, I'm just gonna do something because it's right. So you start. One of the prayers is, God, make me an instrument of your love.
Yeah.
And then you just become one.
Yeah, that is true. So let's take this opportunity then to let God use us as his wish and be all even more connected one as we are here in spirit, and finalize with our prayer and our vibrations for those that we love, and those that might not be near us physically, but always in spirit, in our hearts, they're all present. So Besko, if you could please guide the final prayer, please.
All right, so let's join our energies. Let's take a deep breath together and release all the tensions of the day. We walk to the Supreme Divine Being, to the Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, beloved friend God, to Lord Jesus, to all the holy apostles of God, to all the saints of all religions, to all the angels, to our spiritual guides, our spiritual mentors, our spiritual benefactors. We ask to be an instrument. We allow to be an instrument in your hands, instrument of healing for all of our families, all of our family members in need of any healing. Healing for all of our friends who need a healing in any way. Healing for all of our work associates who might need help. Healing for all the people in the hospitals in Brisbane, Queensland, and the whole Australia, the whole world. We direct positive energy for all the homeless people. To all the Aboriginal people who might have been hurt by the system of Australian government that was imposed to them. You visualize whoever you think it needs the special help at this moment. You send them help. For all the people who are currently have effects of corona on themselves, who are in hospitals because of coronavirus. Healing be done properly, completely, thoroughly. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So be it, and it is. Amen.
Besko, thank you all for coming tonight.
Very good, Besko. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Keep a look on our Facebook page. Then we're gonna let you guys know if next week you're gonna be able to come back to our physical place after the premiere announcements. So that's it for us tonight, guys, and I hope to see you guys next week. Hopefully in person. If not, then in Zoom as well. Or for those that are not able to come and join us over there, we are always keep our Zoom meetings online. All right. Thank you very much. And see
Thank
you
you.
next week.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.